Fix errors, waste, and issues in a couple of clicks. Get alerted whenever you're off track. Sign up at trueclicks.com.
Wix Studio, the platform for agencies and enterprises to manage clients and projects with max efficiency, sharing Wix's SEO tech to help you drive growth.
Hello everyone. It's so great to be here. It feels amazing. It actually took me 7 years and 4 refused pitches, Kelvin, 4 refused pitches to get here on the scene, but boy, was it worth it. Few things I need to tell you before I start my presentation. This presentation is not a case study about helpful content update. And before you do a great exodus, I hope you don't, I am showing you a process that you can implement pretty much across any penalized or devalued websites. However, in case of helpful content update, if you do have, because I haven't yet seen a full recovery, if you do have an example, please find me. I will share my analysis with you about this domain, about this example, so that will be great. Another thing is I have 20 minutes, 19 exactly now, and I have 83 slides, so I will tend to smash through them really fast. So make sure to be quick to take your photos. However, I'm also sharing my presentation with all of you. The last slide has a QR code which you can scan. There's a landing page. You don't have to give me your email address to download the presentation. There's also a few more freebies on that page as well. Now, let's start, right? Click. Too fast. It's not showing on the screen. Yeah, I see it changing here, not on the main screen. Tiny technical glitch. Okay, no worries. Will I get more time? All right, cool. So this case study, this client here, by the way, it's a case study, so not everything will be applicable to your clients or your cases, but the framework, the process will probably be good to follow. I'm not, like I said, I have only 20 minutes, so I'm not showing you everything on how to do things, but I'm showing you what to do. The client was, or still is, a website in home and garden niche, content heavy, and it happened to the client just purchased that website literally weeks before getting hit. A few moments later, after purchasing it, they dropped off around 40% of traffic here, and we're speaking big numbers, like tens of thousands of sessions. Together with traffic, as you can imagine, for the website earning from ads, earnings dropped off massively as well. So no wonder the client was going really crazy. This is when we come in with our 3-step or 3-part process. First of all, we started, as we always start all the campaigns, with SEO audit, strategy and implementation. Because, well, if you don't audit it, how can you help a website without understanding it? And so the audit is actually a way for us to understand the website, obviously. Then analysis, strategy and implementation, because we're not theorists, we're practitioners, so we have to put it all in practice. Another part was the penalty analysis itself, and lastly, growth planning. Now, as we all deal with limited resources, we're not big companies like Google, we don't have virtually unlimited resources, we have to focus on the leverage, or fulcrum, if you like. I think it was Archimedes who said, give me long enough stick and place to stand, I'll move the world. Now, before we go off and start moving the world with some leverages that I'm actually showing you as well, let's actually start with some basics of auditing. For the SEO audit, I use Sidebulb. I'm not affiliated with them. I just love these guys. I think they have a booth out there somewhere. It's a great crawler. I use many crawlers, but theirs is just one of the most actionable ones. So what we did, we started the SEO audit elements with duplicate content and index management. But then we did and fixed images with missing alt text. And I know this is arguably one of the least effective things to implement in SEO. However, when we decide on what to implement, we look at issue severity versus implementation difficulty versus potential benefit. Since in this case, there was something like 1,000 images without alt tags, we decided that it was just worth doing. Next element was page speed and core web vitals, another arguably one that isn't giving you the great results. However, it was worth implementing. You know how it goes. You have one page that isn't passing core web vitals, it's fine. But if you have all of them, then obviously it's not good, right? We did duplicate or multiple heading tags, missing meta descriptions. And for the last two, I cannot really say how good Horseman as the crawler is, cannot recommend it enough. Now, Horseman brings you not the apocalypse in this case, but brings you the integration, native integration with OpenAI API, which you can implement. It's actually a teeny bit more difficult to set up, but once you implement it, you can actually do a lot of stuff automatically while the crawler is actually crawling your website. So you have it all at the end of the crawl. You can add things, or for example, do missing meta descriptions based on your content, which is great. Another tool that we used for automation is WordPress All Import plugin, which is great because it allows you to import virtually anything from a spreadsheet into your WordPress. For example, those generated meta descriptions based on your content from Horseman. And it takes no time, it's really easy to use. Next part was we looked at Google Search Console. We did full review. I specifically focus on indexing. There's a lot you can do with Google Search Console in terms of analysis, but I really like looking at indexing. And whenever you see something like this, where you have a lot of pages that aren't indexed versus how many were indexed, then you have to dig deeper. And when you're digging deeper, obviously there will be things that are fine, like no index tags, which you probably slapped on there yourself. But there are also things that you actually have to look at, like, for example, these two. In our client's case, by the way, some screenshots are a bit blurry because they come from the original audit that we sent to the client. In this case, we had a lot of pages that were crawled but not indexed. Specifically over 700 of them, comparing to 600 blog posts on that website. Obviously, that's a big ratio, right? Now, this didn't just appear on its own there all of a sudden. We actually were the first agency to install Google Search Console on that website. And I know this is really bad for the other agencies. Mediocre, and I'm referring to Tom's presentation after mine in a second. Lastly, because we had a lot of pages that were crawled, not indexed, we started implementing and changing the site structure, navigation, information architecture. And this is, by the way, the website didn't even have any categories. This is more or less a visualization how it looked like on the graph before and after we just implemented categories. Obviously, we've done a lot more internal linking, but obviously you can tell the graph looks much, much better and it's easier for Google to crawl. Now, when it comes to penalty analysis, we knew that it was a side one because it actually affected most of the sites, took away a lot of traffic and a lot of visibility. So we were dealing with something big. However, what brought to our attention was the potential negative SEO attack. Obviously, it probably won't be affecting you. And in most cases, you wouldn't even need to worry about it that much. However, in this case, when we looked at the graph of referring domains, there was a huge spike, which basically doubled the number of all referring domains. So we knew there's something to dig into and have a look at. So we did a full backlink profile analysis of all links. We took one link per domain as an example and started looking through them. These are just some examples. Some of them are down, some of them are still working. However, this is what we've been seeing a lot that the site was getting links from. And you can tell from just the get-go that this is just made to basically manipulate Google's rankings. So we decided to disavow most of them. And I know disavow another topic that arguably isn't needed, but our job as SEOs is to make things easy for Google and good for the users. Another thing was under the penalty analysis, we had some core algorithm updates in the mix, exactly 5 unconfirmed and confirmed. And as you can see, each one was decimating the traffic a little bit more. The problem with core algo updates is that they're not that easy to process. You can think of them as the whole playing field changes, shifts. AI gets smarter or changes neural weights, and basically everything is different. And there is definitely not a one fix. So if I was to summarize it, think of it this way. It's not any one thing you did or didn't do. It's everything, the whole picture. And to look at the whole picture, again, we started looking at, again, mundane basics, meta tags, 404 reviews, more general cleanup. We looked at content improvements, and in just short piece of content, don't read it. There were that many weird words there, weird sentences, terms, and that was crazy. The last one gives the best idea of how bad it was. There is nothing for a lifelong last. Whatever that means, I think they meant to say nothing lasts forever, but hey, that's how bad this content was written. So we started fixing it. We also were adding FAQs together with that, and with FAQs, we were implementing the schema. Again, arguably, and Google is not showing that much FAQs in the SERPs now, but as SEOs, again, good for the user, easy for the search engine. Together with that, we also added key takeaways using Horseman, for example. And I mean, why not? If big guys like Daily Mail are doing that, it's pretty useful for the users. In that case, it was pretty good. For most of these things, we were using AI automation. Initially, ChatGPT, but at the moment, I would only recommend you use Claude for things like that. We also supported the analysis and the tool with people also ask. And I know what you're thinking. Hey, Rad, AI content, Google isn't really fancy of that, right? Right. However, what I always say is you have to find balance between automation and personalization. If you find something that automation and AI can generate for you and it makes sense for the users like it, and it works for your website, then that's great. Google won't mind because the users are liking it. However, on the other hand, if you just chuck 5 billion gazillion pages AI generated straight up on your website, then this is when Google will definitely not like it. At this stage, we were around 4 months in. We started seeing some early first signs of penalty recovery. However, at that time, we didn't know that. We actually hit a bucket of death. This is the term that I use and sometimes see on websites that were penalized and are recovering. Google gives you a tiny, slim light at the end of the tunnel, giving you a little bit more traffic to allow you to recover a little bit, but then boom, everything drops off, only to kind of like test it. Google probably, I don't know, algorithms are testing your site, are looking whether you did something and now you're going to revert it back because Google take away the traffic, or you did it to let it stay on the site because it was actually good for the user. Bucket of death. This is how I call it. Now, in terms of the growth plan, this is all, by the way, happening pretty much simultaneously. We did keyword research. It's a great segment at this stage, I think after lunch, about keyword research. Make sure to join Daniel's presentation. So I'm not going to go into that. However, based on the keyword research findings, we created a strong content plan and also devised a link building strategy. And I know Google said very recently, links are not important, but links still work. Here, I said it, shoot me. But don't take just my word for it. There's a lot of SEOs that didn't really feel like this was something that they are okay with. Some say that Google is playing the opposite day. Some are actually gladly taking your links if you don't need them. Some are making fun of LinkedIn posts ranking for your money or your life loan keywords. And some, like this one, I think this is the best summary of it. Would you trust the casino telling you how to win at casino? So let's just leave it at that. Then the growth plan involved additional monetization. And like I said, this was a content-heavy website earning from ads. So yes, you can go in and slap more ads on there for additional monetization, but obviously it's not going to be good for the users as much as you will not be penalized for having ads on the site. You will be penalized for having really bad ads in great quantities and having them intrusive. So we turned it towards Amazon affiliate because it's easy to join, easy to implement, and very easy to start making money. For this, there's a great plugin called Amazon Affiliates for WordPress, AWP for short. You configure it and boom, you can use the shortcodes to slap something that beautiful on your blog post and you have affiliation already with Amazon. You can start earning money from your traffic. Now, Amazon Associates, it's actually not all great because it's also very oversaturated. It's very low on commissions comparing to some other programs. And as far as I know, there's only 24-hour cookie duration, so it's very short. So I would definitely, there's plenty of other programs to choose from. They might not be that easy to actually implement. However, they will pay you more. So in the long term, it's going to make more sense. And of course, there's plenty other ways to monetize your website, like lead gen or email marketing through newsletter. There's drop shipping, which didn't show there. There's upsell or cross-sell. Direct ad sales, you can also do that with companies to encourage them to advertise on your website. Right? There's plenty. Just pick something and just start increasing monetization based on your traffic that you have. Last bit of, growth plan, we decided to actually branch out to a different market. In this case, Spanish market, because there's, in the US alone, 41 million Spanish speakers and worldwide close to 500 million. So this is a very big market to attract. Now, I used some of my dormant coding skills supported by ChatGPT as a great assistant to integrate the website with DeepL API and basically translate all the content. After it was done and on the page, we started reviewing that content with the actual native speakers because, yeah, I know what you're going to say. Google doesn't like just automated stuff on the site, right? So, no, we didn't just leave it. And I was really surprised to see that after barely 5 days, Google actually indexed most of that new content, which was crazy to me because Google has some issues with indexation and doesn't like to index new content that well. And this is, I think, over a 3 months period, gave the client a few $100. So yeah, I think it's a good addition to monetization. Now, when it comes to the results, we obviously recovered the evaluation. Users grew up over 55%, and again, we're talking 90,000 additional pairs of eyes looking at the website. This is a screenshot from the old Google Analytics back then. Now, speaking of the revenue numbers, when the client joined us, it was on the decline, where it hit the lowest in the second month, $669. But after our work started picking up, as I said, we were doing most of it simultaneously, we actually got to the point where we went over $3,000 and then some. And the difference between the top number in bold and the bottom is the title of this case study, 373%. Now, the key takeaways from that presentation: basics are important, but so is leverage. Don't forget to manage your time wisely. Work smart. Strategize, because without a strategy, you're just shooting around and it's all messy. Set yourselves goals and assess your work, because how do you know if it works if you don't assess? And lastly, please do not forget about planning for growth, because sometimes even when you're penalized, what you're doing for the growth can actually outgrow that penalty. So you will end up being much better. There's a great presentation right after me. Paul is standing there very nervous. He's talking a lot about SEO longevity, processes, frameworks, and growth. So yeah, that's gonna fill up beautifully. Now, me, 14 years in SEO, a dinosaur, 23 years doing some coding. You can find me on social media, me or my company, at these handles. What we do, we are actually two agencies, one focusing on digital PR, the other focusing on international SEO, growth, technical, and consultations. So feel free to drop us a line if you have any questions. This is the promised QR code, so make sure to scan it. There's some templates I'm sharing with you, and this is all from me. Thank you very much.
Monthly reporting making you want to shove sharp things up your nose? Try Dragon Metrics, the all-in-one SEO software with mind-blowing reporting tools.
Demand sphere. Limitless visual insights from the SERPs. Unlimited dashboards and users. Easy to use and easy to scale your growth to new levels.